Hello everyone. Today we are going to see the component level design. So far we have seen the architectural designs, the design principles, user interface design. Now in this lecture we will see how component level design works, how we have to confirm a component level designs. So here the basic designs that every object, so far what we consider, we group them into different components. So each component has their own set of data and methods to operate on it. It is more like a class, but it can function independently. So we will see how that is. So now let us see what is a component. A component is a modular, deployable and replaceable part of a system that encapsulates implementation and exposes a set of interfaces. That is, they are modular, they are separate, deployable in the sense we can deploy it anywhere, deploy it in the sense we can implement it, and replaceable part. If this component is not working, I can replace with some other component. So part of a system that encapsulates implementation and exposes a set of interfaces, that has its own set of implementation and exposes a set of interfaces. These interfaces can be seen as data and the encapsulation may be seen as the methods. So what is a object oriented view? In case of object oriented view, a component contains a set of collaborating classes. What is a conventional view? So in the conventional view, that is, if you are not viewing it as an object, what it is it? A component contains processing logic, the internal data structures that are required to implement the processing logic, and an interface that enables a component to be invoked and the data to be passed to it. So what does a component actually has? The component actually has a processing logic. That means how to process, what are the different methods it has to process, the internal data structure that is required to implement. So what are the data? If I say that is the data, the method, data to implement those method, and an interface in the sense, if suppose I have a component based on printing, then what will be the interface of what will it should have some input interface so that it can receive the command for printing. It should have some output interface so that after printing it will display the pages or give the total amount of a report of how many pages it has been printed, or the quality of the printing, and so on. So there are two different interfaces connected with a particular component called printing. So let us see the object oriented component. So in object oriented component, let us see the analysis class as a print job. So in print job, the data will be number of pages, number of slides, paper type, magnification, production features. So these datas are operated by the following methods or following interfaces. So let us see what are they. Compute job cost, pass job to printer. So these are the two methods that will operate on the above data. So now let us see, this is a component. What is a component? Print job is a component. Can you see compute job? A 2-line one here. So this is compute job and this is initiate job. These two are called as the interfaces that are connected to this print job. So before printing the job, there is an interface to compute the job. First it will compute the job, then that interface will give this job to the component called print job. After printing the job, this component will have, again, after printing or before printing, there is an interface that will initiate this job. So let us see that. So this particular component, print job, has a design class. So elaborated design class, if you see, it is again the number of pages, the number of slides, paper type. So there are different types of data, and these are the different types of methods that will operate on the data. So we have seen two interfaces. What are the interfaces? Interface compute job and initiate job. So in compute job, what are the it has specifically the methods to initiate or compute the job, and those methods are compute page cost, compute paper cost, compute production cost, compute total job cost, and here build work order, check priority, and pass job. So this is the gist about a object oriented component. Now let us see how a conventional component will occur. So in case of a conventional component, so let us see the design component is compute page cost. So we have two interfaces again, the interface called get job data, another interface called access cost database. So when you elaborate this particular module, you will get the page cost, how the page cost, what are the inputs the page cost. In order to calculate a page cost, what should be the data it requires. So it requires the data like input data like number of pages, a number of documents, again the sites, how many sites are there, how many colors it is going to use, what is the page size, A, C, B, D, or anything. So based on this, it can calculate the page cost. And again the input job size, so how long the job will take. But again the job based on the job, how many colors we are going to use, the page size. So based on that, it will give the output of base paper cost. So if in a book there are different pages are there, for example if it is a drawing book, one side the paper will be very thick and one side the paper will be very thin. So the base in this case BPC is calculated, that is the base paper cost is calculated. So again the surface cost is also calculated by using SF. So how to get the job? So what in order to get the job done, it has to get the data like number of pages, number of documents, sites, color, page size. And to access the cost, it has to get the data like job site, color, page size, BPC, SF, compute cost. So there is a comment section. In the comment section we can see what are they. So job size is calculated by number of pages into number of documents. Lookup base page cost, that is base page cost is calculated, implies access cost DB. So JS color, JS Java's job size and color. So these are the two arguments it takes. Again size factor, it depends upon the job size, color and size. So job complexity factor is calculated by the given formula, 1 plus sites minus 1 into site cost plus size factor. So based on all these, the page cost is given by BPC plus into JCF. So this is the typical thing how we can compute a page cost. So these are the things implied. So these every set of detail is put into a single component called compute page. So in order to compute a page, it has to get information from two interfaces, that is the get job and access job cost. So now let us see. So what are the basic design principles we need in order to design a component? So very first principle is the open closed principle, that is a module should be open for extension but closed for modification. So whatever it is inside, it should not be changed. We can either add some component or some classes or some methods to it, but we should not modify what is already present inside the component. The Liskov substitution principle. Subclasses should be substitutable for their base classes. That means in subclasses should have all the qualities that the base class has. So this concept can be studied from the hierarchy. So hierarchy where the derived class has all the functions of the parent class. So this particular principle is followed in Liskov substitution principle. That is, the subclasses should be substitutable for their base classes. Dependency inversion principle: depend on abstractions, do not depend on concretions. That means the abstraction, whatever we see outside, should be dependable. So if I want my job to be printed, so it should be the output should have, I have to get the job somehow printed. It should not show how it is printed, so what are the different complications involved in the printed, it should not be seen. So this is done and got by this principle. It's taken care by this principle, dependency inversion principle. Now let us see the interface segregation principle. It is, many client specific interfaces are better than one general purpose interface. So the interface so far which we are going to design, it should be more client specific instead of general. So when it is more client specific, what happens, we can give the we can make a component more specific and the accuracy will be high. The release reuse equivalency principle. The granule of reuse is the granule of release. So whatever component we have so far designed, it should be reusable. So that is insisted by this REP principle. The common closure principle. Here the classes that change together belong together. So if the classes are modified within a component, so these modifications should reflect in other classes also within the module or component. So that is about common closure principle. The common reuse principle: classes that aren't reused together should not be grouped together. Correct? So what it says, if suppose I have a module and it has a set of classes, so if I want to reuse the module, it should be like only one particular class or two classes in the module can be reusable. Other classes are not reusable, that is, we cannot reuse them. Then there is no point of putting them together in the module, in the component. So what it should be, the entire classes grouped together in the module should be able to be reused. If not, then we have to see that only the reusable classes for a specific functions are kept inside a particular component. So we have just seen the principles of designing a component. Here we see the guidelines. So in order to see the guidelines, design guidelines means how we are going to name, what are the different components or elements present in component design. So very first is components. So what is the component? Components naming convention should be established for the components that are specified as part of the architectural model and then refined and elaborated as a part of component level modeling. So the naming should be a part of the entire job. For example, if it is something, my project is about printing, then it should be, the component should have a name convention related to that printer job, print initiator print, get the job done print, like that. The name convention, the component name should reflect to which it is related to. Now let us see the interfaces. In case of interface, the interface provides important information about the communication and collaboration, as well as helping us to achieve the OPC. So that means the interface will provide important information about the different communication. That is, if suppose I have a component, this component will be communicating with some other component or some other interface. So these details are given by the interfaces. For example, get the job done. If when you see here, get job data and access cost DB are the different interfaces to which my component is connected. Now let us see the dependencies and inheritance. Whenever we talk about a reuse model, it always has the dependencies and inheritance. It will support the inheritance principle. So what is inheritance? Inheritance is the something it will derive from the base class. So here it is a good idea to model dependencies from left to right and inheritance from bottom from bottom derived classes to the top base class, and we have already saw that is the subclass should have all the properties of the base class or the main class. So these things are taken care by the dependencies and inheritance. So the very important terms in component designing. First is cohesion. So let us see what is a cohesion. So in conventional view, when we talk about cohesion, is a single-mindedness of a module. It is a very particular work or a particular thing that a module can do. If the whole component can do. If I say the component print job, the only work it can do is print job, nothing other. It is not going to count the papers. It is not going to give any other job. The ultimate result of that particular module will be printing the job. So only one thing, the entire module will give you the only one thing. So what is the object oriented view for cohesion? Cohesion implies that a component or a class encapsulates only attributes and operations that are closely related to one another and to the class or component itself. So it has all the classes or components that is encapsulated, the attributes and operations that is closely related to one another. So that is, without the interdependency they may fail. It is dependent on one another, and so they are put together within a module or within a component. Okay, so there are different levels of cohesion. So first is functional. So based on the function, how we can design a particular module or a component. Layer level, communicational level, sequential, procedural, temporal, and utility. So based on the different levels, we have the cohesion and module designed for the same. When we talk about temporal, it is about time based, for the use for temporal for a particular time, or for permanent, transient or permanent. Utility, application oriented. Procedural, it is like when we use the step by step, like getting the job will be first, counting the papers will be second, setting the paper, calculating the cost, then printing, then getting the papers. So these will be the procedural. Again, sequential is more or less than communicational in the sense it will ask the data from the user. So these are the different things or levels of cohesion. Now there is another factor called coupling. So what is coupling? Coupling is a conventional view. In conventional view, the degree to which a component is connected to other components and to the external world. When it is connected within itself, we called it as cohesion. When it is connected to other than the other components, we call it as coupling. So in object oriented view, let us see a qualitative measure of the degree to which the classes are connected to one another. Okay, they are connected to one another. So these coupling, it is not necessary it should be very strong. Cohesion should be very strong, then only you can function. The single-mindedness of the module is achieved. Coupling may vary based upon the task or based upon the overall performance or overall task which you want to achieve. So let us see the level of coupling. Content coupling, common, control, stamp, data, routine call, type use, inclusion or import, external. So these are the different types of coupling. Now we come to, so far we have seen what the naming conventions, that is guidelines, we have saw the design principles. Now how to design get a component design at level 1. So we have steps. Let us go through the steps one by one. Step 1, identify all design classes that correspond to the problem domain. So based on the problem domain, we will identify all the classes. Step 2, identify all design classes that correspond to the infrastructure domain. So infrastructure, now we know first is the problem. What is the problem? Based on the problem, we will identify the design classes. Now in order to implement the problem, what are the design principles we need? We will extract it. Third, elaborate all design classes that are not acquired as reusable components. So we will elaborate the design classes which cannot be reusable as of now. 3a, specify message details when classes or components collaborate. So when we collaborate the classes or details, what type of message they should pass between themselves, we will be specifying. Step 3b, identify appropriate interfaces for each component. Now each component we have to identify the appropriate interfaces. So step 3c, elaborate attributes and define data types and data structures required to implement them. Step 3d, describe processing flow within each operation in detail. Step 4, describe persistent data sources. Persistent, that means permanent data. They are not going to vary with time. They are always found. And identify the classes required to manage them. Now we'll be identifying the classes to manage them. Step 5, develop and elaborate behavioral representation for a class or component. Step 6, elaborate deployment diagrams to provide additional implementation detail. Step 5, factor every component level design and representation and always consider alternatives. So after now we have these steps are elaborating, describing the persistent data, elaborating the behavioral representations, elaborating deployment. At last we'll factor them in the case we will make them into small groups, small modules, and these modules we'll see whether if suppose a particular module fail, I should be able to substitute another module. Component model designing is substitutable. If one not works, it can be substituted by other module and make sure that also works with the same. So this is about the component level design. So here we have example for collaboration diagram. So there are three jobs to be done, or three modules are there. First is production job, work order, and job queue. So the interface for the production job is build job. So build job will give work order number, any number it may give. Again, submit job. So after doing the job, it will submit it to the job queue. So these two are the interfaces, and these three are the different modules or factors. So refactoring in the sense, after making the module of I should be able to make separate them into parts. Each and every part I can separate, and I can identify what each and other part is capable of doing. For in case of print job, so let us see print job. In case of print job, I can refactor that into production job, and again these production job can be refactored into work order and job queue. So this is called refactoring. A complete component can be divided into can be break down into small parts. So again we can make whatever we have done, we can represent them in the activity diagram also. So how it works, it is the start. So these are the different activities like validating that input, access the paper weight. So for size B, what is the cost? For size C, what is the cost? Size D, what is the cost? The color custom. At last, the paper cost is calculated. So we can for each and every refactored module, refactored part, we can represent them in a activity diagram. State chart. So what is a state chart? A state chart has a start button and end button. The state of the job is represented over here. The methods that it uses are represented in the next part. The first part is about the title of the state. The second part is about the different methods it will work on. Like the first thing, we can see the entry for building a job data. It requires? That is, it has to go to first read job data. So after read job data, it has to display the job data. So that is exit. It has to enter, then it has to enter in the sense it is the input, exit in the sense it is the output. Then it has to do check consistency. So in between it has to check the consistency. Then include the data input. So whatever data in this has, it have to include. So based on this you can calculate the entire thing. So this is the start and this is the end. So by the end what we'll get, that is what a different state. The first state is building the job data, second is computing the job cost, third forming job, third submitting job. So that is the end. So with this we'll stop. We have seen this is about the component level design. So in component level design we learned about what is a component, what are the different principles of a component, what are the design guidelines, the naming conventions, and how a component level design is carried out. And after carrying out this design, how it can be represented. It can be represented in the component diagram. In case of collaboration diagram, it can be represented in activity diagram and state diagram. So thank you.